barbecue capital of the world and home of Elvis Presley. Please welcome your co-host, Bob Furniss.
A contact center job either finds you in a moment of need,
right,
or you find it in a moment of need, right? I need a job, and or it could be that I'm working an opportunity in a contact center.
And from the tornado capital of the world, home of the Oklahoma Sooners, here's your co-host, Tenumah.
Welcome to the show. I am your co-host, Tenumah, and I've got my partner in crime, Bob Furniss. Bob, are you with me?
Good morning, Amos. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. It's Friday morning. We get to do the show.
It is.
I'm ready. I'm ready to do this. This is episode 1. Welcome to the Contact Center Show. We are excited. We've been talking about doing this for a long time. Those of you who used to listen to the curated experience with myself and Bob over the last 18 months, we've decided to make it official. Both of us will be co-hosting this show, and this will be the epicenter of all things contact center, and we are glad you are joining us. Bob, anything you want to say about
no, just how crazy to be on video in a world where when I grew up, they said we were going to have telephones that you could see the person on the other side, and
right.
Here we are. I know I just dated myself, but wow, I'm excited about this. I'm excited about what we talk about every week, and just looking forward to hanging out.
Awesome. Let's jump right in. So I want everyone to keep in mind that even though COVID accelerated things in terms of staffing and work from home or what have you, one of the things that's top of mind for me, Bob, has been this staffing in a virtual world. So COVID happened. All these agents are working from home. Some wearing pants, some not wearing pants. But folks are sort of working from home now.
Thanks for the LinkedIn post. I loved it.
Exactly. This is a trend now that is here to stay. And the reason I know this, Bob, is I was speaking to a lady who runs a global contact center back in April. And what she was calling to tell me is she was so mad all of her agents are at home. And her words to me then was, I can't wait till these guys come back in the office. Fast forward, I talked to her about a month ago, and it's completely different. She's now saying they're never coming back. I thought, oh gosh, they'll never work from home. No, she's a convert now. I mean, she's seen it work. She's seen the world not go to hell, and she's decided this is going to be the future. But I'd love for you to talk about what we're seeing in the marketplace. Is this trend, now that we know it's here to stay, positive, negative? What are you hearing out in the marketplace?
I think you nailed it. I don't think it changes. I think there's certain types of jobs that are call center or contact center jobs that may go back, right? Because of a particular need. But I think in general, this is the new world we live in. And I was doing some work this week about some consulting work and what does the future look like. And we talked about, a guy on my team talked about the contact center is over. Now, you and I have been around long enough to know that the contact center the demise of the contact center has been going on for a long time. Right. Our IVRs were going to end the contact center forever.
Oh, boy.
As far as I can tell, we're still around. But what he really meant was the contact center as we know it, the contact center of 300 agents in a room in cubes. And I saw a quote from Frost and Sullivan that said that at-home agents, the retention rate is 80% compared to 20% of in-house, 25 to 30% in-house. So that alone says if you don't have work from home, somebody else in your city will have work from home. Yep. And we know the migrations of agents that are involved in that. But to your question about workforce management, we are going to have to look at things differently. I saw a great clip this morning on the news of a weather person. She was standing in front of what looked like she was at the studio. I'm assuming it was just a big green screen, and in walks her toddler and sticks his head between her knees and raises his hands up to be picked up. So she picked him up. So she's on live TV. What are you going to do? So those kind of things happen, right? I think it was American Express. I'm pretty sure it was back in April, May sometime. I called them, and they actually said in the announcement, our agents are working from home, so you may hear small children and animals in the background. Don't be alarmed. We're keeping your information secure. So we have to sort of adapt who we are and how we look at things. And in workforce, we're going to have to adapt that. Well, the value is they only have a 5-minute commute. So I'm not being on time.
Well, in your house, it's probably 20 minutes. You gotta go from one end.
Yes. Well, I've been working in call centers a long time, so the money has just been flowing into my bank account. Because we all know they always pay contact center folks the most amount of money, which isn't true. But you get a 5-minute commute, so there's no reason for you to be late, right? Yeah. I mean, the idea of the train caught me.
Right, that's gone. Yeah. I was held up in traffic. Yeah.
I was held up in traffic. That one doesn't fly anymore. So we have advantages. What we have to do is look for the advantages and the positives, and work on the negatives. And if you think about this for a moment, what percentage of your agents were problem childs about coming back from breaks and lunches?
Yeah.
What percentage of your agents were problem childs about not being on time? About what? 10, 12, 15? I don't know. It depends on what the culture of your contact center is, really.
Right.
But I don't think that changed, right? I think in general, most people are saying, tell me what you want me to do.
Right.
Give me the tools in order to do it, and I'll be where I'm supposed to be when I'm supposed to be. So we have to put some things in place that allows us to understand when they're not living up to our expectations. But I love that the person you talked to said it's good.
Yeah,
right? I know that's a survey of one, but I've heard the same thing.
Yeah, she was a completely anti work from home, and she's seen it now. I mean, she was calling me last year like, I can't wait, because she was putting things temporarily in place. Now she's going more permanent. So I think that's a win. If you're just joining us, you are watching or listening to the Contact Center Show with Moss and Bob. So Bob, it won't be a show if I don't throw some oddball things at you. So I was thinking, what can I say to Bob today to get him blush on TV screen now that we're doing this on video. So this is a real quote. It's the CEO of Grubhub, and I don't want to misquote him here. We believe online diners are becoming more promiscuous. And so Bob, I don't know if you know this, but the term customer promiscuity is now being studied. There's a Harvard article on it. I think it'll be in business school soon. There'll be a whole topic and when you go to B school and they're teaching you about customer value, there'll be an entire section about customer promiscuity. So now that
promiscuity is the new effort score, right?
Exactly. Learning about customer promiscuity. I'd love your thoughts on how did we get here to the point where it's now in the lexicon. Customer. Have we just given up on customer loyalty? How do you think we got here where a CEO of a company can say this and it's not even controversial? Everyone nods and go, yeah. How did we get to this point?
I don't know the gentleman, and I'm sure he's a whole lot smarter than me. But wow, that sounds a little bit like you've given up.
That's what it sounds like, right?
Like I get maybe it was made in the context of we have to adapt our services to win in the customer promiscuity marketplace. Because the reality is there's a bunch of delivery places, right?
Right.
And delivery at the door is delivery at the door. Yeah. But if I hire the right people and I train them well, the interaction at the door perhaps can be good enough to say, if I have a choice, I will click Grubhub instead of DoorDash, or click DoorDash instead of Grubhub. In fact, it reminds me of a project that I worked with someone else in a toll environment. And there was some study they were doing about customer experience, and they were checking and trying to figure out what was the experience. How did they improve that 30 seconds of you handing the person the $2 for your toll, and them giving you the 50 cents back and saying, have a nice day. That's about as transactional as you can get, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But what they found is they had certain people that smiled. They had people that were answered questions. They had people that interacted with the customer when they had a question. So I think promiscuity is really about relationships. Let's break down. Why don't we talk about promiscuity, right?
Yeah,
it's a relationship.
Yeah, right. So it's the reason most relationships fail is because of unmet expectations. I mean, to pick on Grubhub as a customer, I mean, I have been lazy on a Saturday morning and wanted to order a $10 meal, and by the time I get to my cart, I've got $30 in there. Like, I'm not paying $20 to have a $10 meal delivered. So guess what I do? I get a little promiscuous. I check on the next service and the next service, because it's a commodity to me. So I'm looking for, they're all the same. I'm looking for who can do it the cheaper, the fastest. So to your point, if one of them can step up and begin to differentiate themselves, whether it's in the people, in the service, in some way that doesn't make me just look at price, yeah, maybe I will be less promiscuous, Mr. Grubhub CEO.
Well, let's talk about, let's take it one step. So what's the number one and number two complaints in that business? Probably, I don't know, didn't look it up, but probably my food is late and my food is cold.
Right.
So do I attempt to solve one of those? Do I have systems in place to help me solve that? And so if I move that to the contact center and I've got promiscuous customers, how do I hold on to a customer by providing them a level of service? Everything tells us in this industry that you can differentiate yourself in the customer experience through what happens in your contact center. We did some work for a company, and we found in our research that a customer was more unhappy if they had a problem. They were more unhappy if they called into the contact center and tried to fix the problem than if they just accepted the problem and went on to the next situation. So we got up in front of a meeting and suggested that they close all of their contact centers.
Shut it down.
Shut it down. You're messing up your business. Yeah. But obviously that's a situation where the problem, where are your problem accounts? Where are your problems? What are your problems? And how do you prepare your agents to manage problems effectively, to negotiate, to offer credits? What does all that look like to avoid promiscuity?
I couldn't agree more. Let's go to some questions for the community. The one for today is about where can they find good benchmarking data. I seem to get this a lot. They say they're in online retail for good measure. What's your thoughts on finding benchmarking data?
Well, it's not anything new. It's been since I was in the contact center. We're always looking for that. We're always looking to measure how is our success. I think a lot of times we're trying to justify that we're better than what we sound like we are, right? That if I'm at 82% SAT scores, I want to know.
Look at these idiots over here.
Look at these guys. They're at 70% SAT scores. So the first thing is, why are you trying to benchmark? Are you trying to get better? And then that leads me to, and I'd love to know what you think, the best benchmark is yourself. Right? I mean, the fact that I'm a better retail call center than the other retail call center that I'm comparing myself against, Yeah, but I just talked to American Express. I just talked to Ally Bank, who's all call center all the time. And then I called you about my order. My point of reference is not the other retailer. My point of reference in the contact center is Ally and who I just talked to. Yep. So if I measure myself against myself, like first call resolution, and we probably should do a whole show on first call resolution if we haven't already, but measuring myself against figuring out what I think first call resolution is, measuring it, and then 6 months later measuring it the same way while I'm doing a bunch of training and management in my center to try to fix it. My benchmark is not the other retail company. My benchmark is myself. Did I get better in the same way?
Yeah, and I think to your point, the only benchmark worth looking at is benchmarking against the best experience the customer can get anywhere. And so by that measure, what you're going to find, any benchmarking you want to do is you're going to fall short, right? And so to Bob's point, yes, it's referential to see, okay, how big is the gap between me and the best? But it's more productive, to Bob's point, to saying, this is where I need to get, this is what the best is doing, and I need to be better than yesterday, and just keep chasing it. But yeah, hopefully, no one is doing this industry benchmark thing. I hope we have shamed people out of that practice. Because remember all the airlines, every airline report saying, I am the best airline, and I'm going, compared to what? like your competition.
I am the best. I am the most good-looking person of all the ugly people in the world.
Right. I don't know what to make of you telling me how great you are. So,
well, especially in light of the fact that what you comparing them against is your perspective of what a good experience is, right?
Exactly.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that you're better. I need to see incremental changes in my success. Is what I'm looking for.
That's it. That's the deal. And because there's context to everything. All right, Bob. I've run out of time, but I want you to leave us with some words of wisdom for the audience before we wrap up today.
I was talking to somebody this week about a relatively new person on my team, and it was a similar question, like, what's your best advice? And the answer was, don't be afraid to fail. And if you're not failing occasionally, then you're probably not stretching yourself enough. So don't be afraid to fail. And then as a leader in a contact center, don't be afraid to let your supervisors and your managers push them a little bit. Let them fail. Let them. One of the best managers I've ever had in the contact center space, I look back, I was out over my skis a lot, and he let me be there in order to fail, in order to teach me something about what I had failed doing. So think about that. The next time you have somebody offer to do something and you're like, I'm not sure they can manage that, give it to them, help them, mentor them, and let them learn from opportunity.
I couldn't have said that better myself. All right. Thanks everyone for listening. We will talk to you all next week.
We want to thank you for joining us on this episode of the Contact Center Show. If you would like to join the conversation, please visit us at contactcenter.tv. That is Contact Center, all one word, .tv. Or you can simply subscribe wherever you get your podcast. This has been a Beyond production.